Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. If you're capable and able to, stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then if you could remain standing, and we'll have an invocation this evening by Melva Jarrett of the Christ First Ministries. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mel.
First of all, I'm honored that I was even asked, and so I get one shot, and so if you don't call me back, I'm going to do my shot, all right? What is prayer? Prayer is a bunch of words thrown into the air. Who receives prayer? I believe prayer was designated by God to his creation. So this day I pray for the people that are on the city council. Amber, Christina, Bob, Cassandra, Emily, Tom, Mark, Chris, Danny, Mark, Roger. I pray that God judges your heart for the people that you have been chosen by you to represent them. Don't do your own biases, but do for the people of Bonner Springs, Kansas. And I pray that you leave Bonner better than you found it. This I pray in the name of Jesus Christ, the righteous one. Only if you are in agreement are you allowed to say amen. Amen.
And with that, we do have a little bit of addition to tonight's agenda. We are going to have a proclamation this evening for National Gun Violence Awareness Day. If the ladies would like to come on up here. Go both sides if you'd like. And would you like to give us a little information about what you're here for and your names?
My name is Claudia Patrick, and I'm here to receive the proclamation for Gun Violence Awareness Day, which is June 6th. June 6th. Yes, June 6th. It is a Friday. Also, I wanted to let everybody know there is a table at the library that has books about gun violence and gun violence prevention, and we're also handing out free gun locks at the Bonner Springs Library starting Friday the 6th through Sunday the 7th.
I'm Angie Beck. Hi, Amy Bales.
Lauren Nordell Morris.
Whereas every day more than 125 Americans are killed by gun violence, and on average there are nearly 19,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas people in the United States are 26 times more likely to die by gun homicide than people in other high-income countries. And whereas Kansas has 473 gun deaths in an average year, the 22nd highest rate of gun deaths in the U.S. And whereas mayors, council members, and law enforcement officers, in partnership with local violence intervention activists and resources, know their communities best and are the most familiar with local criminal activity and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. And whereas gun violence prevention is more important than ever as we see gun violence continue to impact communities across the country. And whereas in January of 2013, Hadiya Pendleton was tragically shot and killed at age 15, and on June 6, 2025, people across the United States will recognize National Gun Violence Awareness Day and wear orange in tribute to Hadiya Pendleton and other victims of gun violence and the loved ones of those victims. And whereas by wearing orange on June 6, 2025, people across the United States will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. And now, therefore, I, Tom Stevens, Mayor of Bonner Springs, Kansas, do hereby proclaim Friday, June 6, 2025, to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day in Bonner Springs, Kansas, and encourage all citizens to support their local community's efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence and to honor and value human lives. And continuing forward with tonight's council meeting, the first item would be the citizens' concerns about items not on tonight's agenda. This is the time to speak to your council on the open public record for any items not on tonight's agenda. We have instituted a 5-minute timer. You will have 5 minutes if you wish to speak. Is there anyone that wishes to address the city council this evening? Seeing none, we will go ahead and move on with the consent agenda. And that includes the minutes of the May 12th, 2025 city council meeting, claims for city operations, and public use requests for Tiblo Trot. Does staff have anything they wish to have polled? The residents wish to have anything polled? Council, anything polled? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Reeves, a second by Mr. Shannon. Roll call, please.
Sorry about that. Kip,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
McMahon,
Yes.
Blanks. Yes. Motion passes.
Okay, on to new business. We have an ordinance to redefine wards. And staff?
Second, let me catch up here. Sorry. Chris Brake, City Clerk. Several months ago, we started talking about, well, it's been almost a year ago, we started talking about redefining the ward boundaries due to the change in population based on the 2020 census. That population change, sorry, I had this all written out. Get back up there. The population changed significantly enough that the wards were no longer consistent with state statute. So the council met and staff met with a third-party company that helped us draw new boundaries. We did that based on our 2020 census. Came up with a couple of different ideas. The council met again, decided on the one that they wanted to present, which is this here. You can see the changes. Ward 1 really didn't have any changes. Ward 2 had a couple of slight alterations, as you'll see in the circled area down there. Ward 3 involved most of the changes, and then Ward 4 was reduced a little bit, and I've got those spelled out there. Once the council decided on this option, I sent it over to Wyandotte County, to the election commissioner for their approval, and on to the Secretary of State for his approval. Got those approvals back about 2 weeks ago, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And so our next step then is to pass the ordinance and send the certified copy of the ordinance up to the Secretary of State's office, and then those changes will be in effect for the next election.
Thank you.
Both of these maps and the population numbers were included in the agenda item.
Thank you, staff. Is there anybody from the citizens who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt an ordinance to redefine the current wards.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Shannon, a second by Ms. Blanks, and we'll go ahead and start down there with you, Mr. Shannon. Any comments, questions?
No, thanks to everybody that worked on it. I'm really pleased with it. Thank you.
Nothing. I agree. Thank you to everyone who worked on it, because it has to be a difficult situation. Just the little things you do. Yeah. Okay, thank you, because it makes sense.
Well, thank you for that. Guess I participated. We lost a lot of sleep, Chris. I'm just kidding. I have nothing to add.
Thanks for your work, Chris.
Mr. Reeves?
I thought that Ward 3 there along Lakewood Road, I was supposed to, because I'm in Ward 3, that I was supposed to have both sides of Lakewood this time around. Doesn't look like I've got it. That's my comment about that. I thought that was worked out on the map. Maybe I read it wrong, but anyway, I just pointing that out that, you know, my neighbors across the street, you know, they say, well, I'm not, you're not in my ward, okay, and they can't understand that. I wish there was some way we could change that part of it, but, because we gained that other little part out there just north side of Kansas Avenue. And that's okay as far as I'm concerned, but when your neighbor's right across the street from you aren't in the same ward as you are, and they know that you're a councilman, that's, you know. So,
I think we brought, that was in our discussion. I don't have my notes in front of me. It's a valid point, Bob, but I kind of given the options, that's, you know, overall, considering the two, because there was multiple options, I think that's kind of that's where we landed on that, so.
I know the print is a little small on here. If you look, this is what the state statute requires, and one of the requirements of the state statute is they cannot divide census blocks. And so unfortunately, without dividing census blocks and keeping the wards even, we weren't able to do that.
Right. Good point, Chris.
well, that doesn't mean I'm happy, but, you know.
Right, right. No, I understand, but we do have these that we have to.
And I do want to make sure that we do recognize that this is what was approved by council that got sent down to the UG, then on up to the state. So this is the original one that went through in front of the council 6 months ago. So any other comments, questions?
Yeah,
Oh,
Mr. Reeves, that there are quite a few places in our city that different wards are on each side of the street.
I realize that, but there are no council people that live on that dividing line.
We'll move.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I feel like we all hear from different wards and are just like, okay, we'll let Amber know or Chris know. So I live on one of the dividing lines too. Right on Oak Street. The other side of Oak is Ward 1.
any other comments, questions, concerns? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and record the vote.
Voting to approve the ordinance, to adopt an ordinance to redefine the current wards. Blanks.
Yes.
McMahon.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
Reeves.
No,
Kip.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Always has to be one. On to our second item. Agreement with Unified Government for on-site DMV renewal services. Staff?
Amber Vogan, City Manager. The UG approached us earlier this year to see if there might be an opportunity for them to pilot a DMV site here at our City Hall location for registration renewal services. So we met here at the building, several of us did, went on a tour to see what areas might work for them, and they were able to find this small area over to the left of the council chamber, our left of the council chamber, your right, where we had originally built that area to house the municipal court clerks during court, but during the building and renovations that we had, it was during COVID, so those things kind of changed as we were working on this building. So we don't use that space as intended. We don't use it at all right now. So we found that that might be the best place to see how this might work. The agreement is in your packet. The only minor changes, it says pending legal review. The only minor changes we had were that the furnishings must be mutually agreed upon. And I think that was, the occupancy can't exceed the posted occupancy of the area. But other than that, I think it's gone to UG Standing Committee and will be on there. It has not gone to Standing Committee. It goes to Standing Committee this Thursday. And we do have Dr. Shelley Newman. She's the Chief Financial Officer for the UG. She has been working with me on this project as well. So if you have any questions for them, and Chuck Stites, Commissioner Stites has been the one kind of championing this, so he's here as well.
Is there, I'd love to have the UG if they'd like to come up here and speak a little bit.
Push. Thank you for the opportunity to come tonight before you. We've been challenged by customer service issues at our DMV sites. We have one location in the downtown courthouse and the Wyandotte County Courthouse and one location in the annex. And we are actually undergoing a study right now to look at those two operations as to how we can improve the traffic flow. We have citizens that complain, there's long waits, but a big part of that is because the easier transactions that could be done quickly are just the tag renewals, which technically can be done online. So one of the ideas we had was to separate out tag renewals and have a pilot 2 days a week here where people would not have to make an appointment, but they could only do their tag renewals here. Those are quick transactions, they're 5 minutes, they're not lengthy. And so we'd be able to serve people quickly that would get them out of the mix of the people that have more complicated, a new vehicle transferring into the state. They've got to pay their sales tax, more complicated transactions that typically are done in person. They can be done by a drop box and by the mail. So one of the things we will have is a drop box here so that if somebody does make their way here and they don't need to do a renewal, they need to do something else, we can at least serve them by saying, put all your materials in that packet and we will take that to the main office tomorrow and someone will be in contact with you. So at least we can serve them here. But this will be a pilot. We're going to give it a try. Our hope is after we actually had bad weather, so our standing committee got canceled and rescheduled. So we're hoping that once we get our approval on our side and with your all support, we'll be able to order the equipment. There's some specialty printers that have to be purchased, and so it's just how long of a lead time. But our hope is we would then get those things ordered and they'd be on call for delivery. And then we'd be able to open probably in the July timeframe. We don't have a set date because we haven't ordered that equipment yet. But we have gotten permission from the state to be able to be allowed to do this. And we think it's a good pilot program to just do 2 days a week, a simple kind of service that people can go to, not be in the crowds with the more complicated services, and be able to have another option. And we hope that it works. We hope that it helps people be able to get their business done more quickly. This was really kind of the brainchild of Commissioner Stites and the mayor in talking about ways that we can collaborate as a county and with the city. And so we really do appreciate the opportunity to give this a try. Hopefully it is very successful. And then we can look at how we might enhance it or do further things in the future. At the same time, while we're making improvements at the courthouse and at the annex, because what we do know is what we're doing is not working. And so we know we need to make changes. We want to make changes. This is part of trying something new. And that's the only way that you know if you're going to be able to improve is to try new things. So with that, I'm glad to answer any questions. You guys have been great to work with. We really do appreciate it. You know, we're financially constrained like everybody is. So to get to have an opportunity to use some of our staff and purchase just some equipment, not a whole lot of equipment, to be able to do this to meet the citizens' needs is really a positive thing.
Do you see a large increase in the people using online?
Yes, we do.
It's so unbelievably easy.
Exactly. What we found, though, is that we actually pulled data from the state, and 40% of the people that could do online don't. And so now when we send them their stickers, because it's still mailed, the stickers are still mailed when you do online, just like when you walk in. We've been putting little inserts in to say, hey, did you know next year you can do this online to encourage that? And we think over time that will happen. But we also think that there's still a percentage of our population that don't trust online. They're worried, maybe they think that they'll be getting their stickers that day, which is not how the state of Kansas works. That's not a county decision, that's a state of Kansas decision. But it's, I think that, we'll continue to see that trend. But that is the easiest transaction. So if we can carve those people out, so they're not waiting in the midst of other people and scheduling appointments for those kinds of transactions that are so quick and so easy. The other thing we're going to do is at our current locations, we're going to set up workstations. For whatever reason, the state of Kansas let Johnson County do kiosk for online tag renewals, but they won't expand that to anywhere else in the state. And so we're going to set up our own kind of version of a kiosk, like a computer, and it'll have a workstation there. And so if you're there just to get your renewals, there'll be signage, there'll be, go over to this computer. Maybe they just don't have, Wi-Fi at home, or maybe they don't have a computer. And this would allow them to be able to do their business and then get in and out of the door quickly. So we're trying lots of things to try and handle the customers. But there are days of the month that we have people lined out the front door, and they're standing in bad weather. It's not ideal, so we're doing as much as we can to improve that.
Is there a video tutorial about how to use the app? I mean, it was one of the easiest things I've done like that. So
Yeah, I don't know
I'll
if
give a
there's
testament if you don't do it. Do it online. 'Cause
Do it online,
it was simple.
exactly. One, not to be a critic, but one criticism that I did just recently learn, just in case anybody runs into this, is that the state will mail you a reminder with your PIN on it to be able to do it online. And there's a time delay between because that part of this Pay It system, the MyWICO app, is actually done by the state. And there's a time delay of about a week from when you get that letter to when it gets populated. And so we're working on that because there shouldn't be a time delay. That's, again, an inconvenience. The citizen then has to come back to the app to pay or to renew their tags, and that's kind of pointless. So we're working on that too, but we're constantly looking for ways to improve it. I don't know if there's a tutorial, but it is really an easy app. Really easy.
I just meant some way to communicate that they can watch something and then know that it's out there if they don't trust it. Maybe it'll take them that little bit further.
Totally. We're doing some different improvements. I'd welcome you guys look at our website. I'm in the process of looking at it, looking at the instructions, the checklist, see what we can do to make it clearer. Because I know, for example, I had a citizen who could not get it was a more complicated transaction, but it was a new vehicle. So they needed to pay their sales tax and all of that, but they couldn't get it done, get an appointment before their temporary tax expired. So I went with them because I wanted to experience how our Dropbox situation worked. I wanted to see that. I wanted to experience it to see how we could improve it. And something very basic, but we didn't have envelopes for our Dropbox for them to put stuff in. I mean, it's like the basic stuff that we can do that's not costly that can make the service better. So this fits into a part of a bigger scheme of things that we're doing to try and educate people. But I welcome you guys, look at the website, welcome feedback. We want to make it as easy for people to understand as possible.
I'd like to compliment you on you wanting to do this and going to the extent to which you're doing it, because I can say that I can't speak for anybody else, I'll speak for myself. And if it comes down to following things on a computer, I'm not real good at it, And I know I've heard that from a lot of people that just do not feel comfortable to do this, or it says here's a tutorial that you do this. Well, it doesn't look like the screen I've got on my computer. So anyway, but hey, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Say, before we do any more, let's go ahead and see if there's any citizens that wish to speak. I know there's not really many people in the audience. If there is nobody, don't go too far, Dr. Newman, because I'm sure there'll be other questions for you here in a second. Let's go ahead and get a motion on the floor.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agreement with the United Government for on-site DMV renewal services pending legal review.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Blanks and a second by Mr. McMahon. And we'll go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and continue with the questions, comments with Mr. Reeves.
I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay, Ms. Blanks?
First, thank you for being here, and thank you to Commissioner Stites for always keeping Bonner and Edwardsville best interest out here and continuously included in the conversation of extending services out west. So thank you, Commissioner Stites. I do have a few questions. How are we going to make sure that people in our area know that these services exist? Like, is there going to be like a dot now on Google Maps for like a DMV location, website, social media push, like things like that?
Yes, our communications team will do things on our website. Hopefully, we can do some on yours, as well as just public relations, do a media release, get some coverage. Potentially we could have a little sort of ribbon cutting, just to get the word out that this is something that's available. We really do want it to be successful, so we want people to understand the type of transactions they can do here is limited, but it gives them an alternative. And so, communications will be a big part of that.
I know we're just piloting the renewals as of now, but is there discussion of hopes of maybe in the future offering extended services if this goes well?
Potentially. Some of it relates to the study that we're having done with the current locations, the 2 other locations. We've looked at everything from should there be a centralized to maybe there should be 4 locations and have one out further west. We've got here one, and we've got one kind of midtown and then one downtown. So really we're looking at the gamut of what we could do. We've got limited staff, and the key is to make sure that we size the staff to the people, the number of people that come to those locations to serve, that we make sure that we've got enough people to serve them. So this consultant that we've hired, we just had the kickoff meeting last week, and they're going to be evaluating our space, what the best models are, what are the best practices. Most of my career was done in Missouri, and in Missouri, every community has its own DMV. And it's everything from driver's license to everything to do with your tags. So it's done differently there, but I've seen the efficiency in terms of getting people served. And so learning some lessons from other communities nearby, as well as just looking at our communications. How do we explain to people, where do they go, what do they need? At one point, we had a person who would check all your paperwork when you got there to make sure you had everything. And for a time, because of staffing, we weren't able to staff that, but we do have that back up and going in an information window, so people can go there and make sure they've got all their stuff. They don't wait for hours and then get to the front of the line and don't have something, which is always frustrating to everybody. So it's possible that we could engage with more conversation about expanding, but we definitely don't want to recreate what we have going on at the courthouse or the annex, because it's really a lot of people. And so we don't want to necessarily do that, and we would have to look at the space and that type of thing if we expanded. But we're just giving it a try and see if we can get some of the population out this way to come in and just renew their tags.
Well, thank you again for the opportunity. Like you said, 40% of people are not utilizing online, and I'm sure there's a percentage in Bonner and Edwardsville. So thank you for making those people feel seen.
Absolutely.
Mr. McMahon?
Thank you. I think this is fantastic, right? Just kind of spread things out, right? We're sprawling here, which is good. I kind of like the idea that this is perhaps the beginning. So license renewals and different things such as that, especially if you live in Bonner, it would be great. We didn't have to go over to KCK, not that we wouldn't want to, but and that thins things out. So I love that. In terms of staffing, how many would the unified government employ these people, or would it be the city of Bonner Springs, or kind of a joint effort? And how many would you anticipate that would need to be on site? How many employees and maybe a supervisor? Do you have a number in mind?
There'd be 2. We would always have 2 people here. One would be a supervisor and one would be frontline. They would both be serving frontline. But then if there is some downtime, the supervisor can be doing other things as well.
Sure.
But they'd be UG employees. The state only allows the UG to do the DMV, or they'll allow the counties to do it. So they'd be our employees. We were looking at doing, potentially posting some positions, and for the immediate future to get up and going, we'll probably reassign some folks. We do actually have some employees that live out this way, and that'd be a good retention benefit for them. And so, but we also think there's an opportunity to recruit people, that if they knew that we had a location here, that maybe a few days a week, they would be able to work in their community, and they live out this way. That might be a way for us to recruit, because it's a difficult job. People don't love going to the DMV. They don't love paying their taxes. They don't love getting their tags done. And so we do have pretty high turnover. And so we're hoping that it'll be a good quality environment for the employees as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So these people would be full-time, the two
2 days
days
a
here
week.
and then 3 days elsewhere.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, excellent. And do you look at these like bookends, like a Monday and a Friday? Have you thought that through?
We've talked a little bit about it, and we were also thinking about like when you guys have your meetings and other events that occur in here, and we haven't settled on an exact date yet, if it would be Tuesday, Thursday, or if it'd be Wednesday, Friday, but that's something that we need to work with the city on to make sure that we pick the days that work best for you guys.
And one last question. Generally speaking, there's someone that's there in terms of maybe policing or security. Would that be a requirement as well?
No, what we've talked about is having panic buttons, since the police department, it's right here is where it would be, and they're right across the parking lot. So we'd have the panic buttons, plus it's a perfect setup for this. It's an enclosed window. So we're not concerned about there being security issues. And frankly, we've been really lucky that we haven't really had security issues. People aren't happy to be there, but they're not necessarily a security concern. Right. And with it being just the tag renewals, they'll be in and out quick. Hopefully they'll be happy, and they'll get on their way.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ms. Woods?
I only have one question. The people who come to do this business with you, is there going to be adequate parking for them?
Yeah, so what we've talked about is allowing the parking lot across the street that's owned by the city, and that's where we would publicize that people would need to park over there, since it's limited out in between the police station and City Hall.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Kidd?
Do you know approximately, not to get you on the spot, approximately how many renewals is the percentage of the traffic that go into the locations? I mean, is it 80-20 or 50-50? I didn't know if it's the
That's a
bulk.
good
And if
question.
you don't know, it's no big
I don't
deal.
know offhand, but it's more than 50-50. I can't say that, because you're renewing your vehicle every year, and you're not buying a new vehicle every year. But there's an awful lot of things that people do. They change addresses, which you can do online. You can do by mail, but people still, do things in person. You buy new vehicles. We've had situations where people want their titles to be in their trust, so they need to change the title to the trust. I mean, there's all kinds of things that people have to do. We do have that data, though, and actually I even have it, I just didn't bring it with me, down to the zip code. Bonner, actually, y'all are pretty good about doing online tag renewals, so we're glad about that, but we want to encourage more of that. And as we find in time, if people do more of that, that might free us up to do other things than here if they're doing that online. So it'll be a work in progress. It'll be something that, we look and see what's going to be the best benefit for staffing people here and meeting people's needs while we're making other changes at the annex and at the courthouse.
And I was registering a vehicle and told the person next to me to do it online, and they got on and did it while they were sitting there and got out of there a lot faster. Is there boards that are saying, hey, you can do this online, like a video up there saying, go to this app? Or
not adequate. There are signs, but they're not adequate.
I meant videos like a TV.
Yeah. And that's some of the things that we're looking at improving. They have a pretty sophisticated line system with the TVs that show you where you are next in line, like they do when you get your driver's license over at the Highway Patrol, I guess. But there's a lot more we can do.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate you coming out.
Mr. Shane, did you have anything else? I want to thank you, Dr. Newman, for coming out here that day and touring, and the UG staff. I want to also, a big thank you to Commissioner Stites. Him and I have talked, along with several of the other commission members and the mayor, over the last several years, and really tried to get the county itself as a whole to include Bonner Springs, Edwardsville, the whole western side of the county. So I'm glad to see the efforts being made to get some of these services out this way. I think it's important to remind everyone that this is not servicing just Bonner Springs residents. This is any Wyandotte County residents who needs access to services. To these services can come out here, Piper, Edwardsville, Turner area, anybody who wishes to come out here. With that, then I would say, is there any additional questions, comments?
I just have one, and I just think, because I'm assuming we're going to be hosting more people here, and they're going to be parking across the street. Maybe we should give some thought to having a crosswalk over there, right, for those that are coming across.
We do have a crosswalk.
Well, we do, but a light or something to make people stop instead of just assume they're going to stop and watch you walk by, right? That, just for their safety.
Yeah.
That's all.
You may have to have a defined, maybe crosswalk out there, maybe some flashing lights or something on those days to highlight it. Any other comments, questions? Well, thank you very much. I didn't hear too much negativity, so I would go ahead and have the clerk go ahead and call for the vote.
Voting on a motion to approve the agreement with the Unified Government for the on-site DMV renewal services pending legal review. Shannon?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
McMahon?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Blanks?
Yes.
Motion passes.
That was close. On to item number 3, resolution to amend the city fee schedule. Staff?
Chris Briggs, City Clerk. We added, I'm going to peek at your computer, when we redid the contract for solid waste management, we're adding the option for residents to have an additional cart, which includes a $10 fee, also adding the option for residents to get excess waste stickers, which come in sheets of 10 that the city would then sell to residents for $25. So both of these items have been added to the city fees list upon your approval this evening. And in conversations with the police department, we also have the animal control chicken permit, which hasn't ever been on the fee schedule, that we went ahead and added it as well for your approval this evening.
Staff, is there any of the citizens wish to speak to this item? Seeing none, I would go ahead and accept a motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to adopt a resolution amending the city fee schedule for the city of Bonner Springs, Kansas.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Shannon and a second by Mr. Reeves. Sorry, Mr. Kipp, you were just a fraction of a second too late. We'll go ahead and start with comments from Mr. McMahon.
I have none.
Ms. Wood?
Am I going to get a paper that tells me exactly what to do?
As far as solid waste, you're at Lake of the Forest, so yours doesn't change. Lake of the Forest is not included in that contract, so yours won't change at all.
But people are going to get.
Everybody else has been getting
Some
notifications in the mail and online.
Okay.
And we had our open house and,
Yeah.
yep.
All right, thank you.
Certainly.
Mr. Kipp?
No, great job on this.
Nothing, thank you.
And we'll go ahead and start here with you, Ms. Blankson.
No questions. Thank you to staff on all their work for the waste management change. Megan did an amazing job online with all the graphics, so thank you to staff.
And Mr. Reeves?
Yeah, thank you for doing all the work. I can't believe how long this list is of all the fees we have. Woo. But
Yeah.
I will make a comment not to do necessarily with the fee schedule, but since the solid waste contract was the kind of the main piece of this, since we are going to be starting up next week, we've already had a couple people who have, for health reasons, have issues where they just aren't going to be able to wait that 90 days for those 96-gallon bins. So I've talked to staff about the possibility, and I think we've got approval from Waste Management that if you know of anybody for any reason, health-wise, that just needs the smaller 3-gallon, 64-gallon cart, let staff know. We're going to get a list together, and we'll go ahead and do an early change out for those individuals. So just be aware of that. If nothing else to add to this, I would go ahead and, did you wish to add something? Oh, okay. I will go ahead and ask for the vote on this item.
Voting on a motion to adopt a resolution amending the city fee schedule for the city of Bonner Springs. Reeves?
Yes.
McMahon?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Blanks?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, that brings us down to our reports. City manager's report.
All right, it looks like most people have their carts, so if you've heard of anyone that does not have their carts for trash yet, you don't have yours? Okay.
Excuse me, I haven't seen anything north of Metropolitan, between Metropolitan and Kansas Avenue.
Okay. They are still, they do still
That's
have a
okay.
few, but
To what,
looked
the
like
third?
it was mostly done. But we'll check and see where they're at and make sure that they're going to be finished by the end of this week. We did have our open house, as Chris mentioned, last week. They had these little booklets. We have some here at City Hall. I think we got some to the library. We gave them some for the farmers market information booth. So if people have any questions, a lot of them can be answered in this booklet. It also has the calendar for the recycling schedule in it, and what you can and can't put in your recycling and trash carts. We're also happy to answer questions if anyone has any. And the only other thing I had was if you still have your budget priority ranking sheets, if you could get those into me so that I can get those factored into our conversations and our budget documents, that would be great. Thanks.
Okay, city council items. We'll start with you, Ms. Blanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to Mr. Mayor and our VFW and other participants, including Councilman McMahon, for a really great Memorial Day service yesterday at our Soldiers Circle at our cemetery. That was my first time attending, and it was just a really great ceremony. I think that's amazing. We just have such a great cemetery that is so well kept with a lot of care. So thank you for the invite yesterday. 2 weeks ago, I did a 10-hour ride-along with our fire department, and it was amazing to see that transition of our department and just see them integrate and work together, and met a lot of really great new staff. But we just have such a great fire department, so thank you to them for having me that day. I look forward to doing some other ride-alongs with different departments this year. And then Mr. Mayor invited me on Saturday to help give tours of City Hall. I believe it was the classes of 68 to 72.
Well, 51 plus. So anybody who from 51 years ago or older.
Yes, so 51 to 75, I think, of those classes from Bonner High School. I think I learned more about this building than I was able to help them out. So that was really enjoyable. So thank you for calling me and inviting me to be a part of that. That's all I have.
Mr. Reeves?
Yeah, thanks to staff for taking care of Spring Creek. I might have mentioned that last time, but I want to make sure I did because it's nice to have it done early in the season like it was this year. So other than that, I'm happy to be here.
Mr. McMahon?
Thanks, Emily. The memorial service was great. Jeff Harris and the team that does the upkeeps, kudos to them for what they're doing. So, and Jenkins, I think he's the chaplain of the VFW, always does a great job. And so, Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm glad. And you know, everyone that participated did a great job, but we could always see more people out there. We, just to pay our respects and stuff like that. But, and also I think Alcott on the other end is one of those streets that didn't get any trash bins either. So whenever they come. But until they get there, we're just gonna keep throwing mattresses out there and furniture. We're just gonna be Wyandotte. No, I'm just kidding, Bonner Springs. I'm just kidding. Stites, I'm messing with you. We're waiting patiently. That's all I have to say.
Can you top that, Ms. Woods?
No, but I like the comments that have been there, because we have so many things going on in the city, and so well they're being handled. So, thank you, city.
Mr. Kipp?
Look forward to the renewal site. Thank you, Commissioner Stites. Appreciate you all coming out here and helping with that. Thanks.
Chuck, it's a pleasure. You don't know how much that means to us, and knowing that you're representing us, and that sometimes it's a little, you had your work cut out, but you've done a good job, and we really appreciate it. Doctor, thank you for being here. This was really informative and very, very helpful. So appreciate you both being here. Thank you. Nothing more.
And then just real quickly, just a couple real quick things. Yes, I did want to once again tell Emily thank you. I appreciate her efforts on Saturday. I came down with a little bit of the touch of the crud Friday night and Saturday morning, and though I felt like I might be able to pull it off, I didn't want to take a chance. So I helped with it, but I let Emily do a lot of the tours, part of the tour, the third floor and some of the other sections. So I do appreciate you being willing to come in on such short notice. And then earlier today I was on a Zoom call for the MARC directors meeting, and one of the presentations concerned me a little bit. They were talking about the measles outbreak. And even though, one of the best things you can do to help with is through herd immunity, through vaccinations. And I was really, really shocked and dismayed when I heard that there were a few counties that were in that upper 80% vaccination rate, when I heard Wyandotte County was at 75% vaccination rate, which really concerned me. And my guess would be probably in the next day or two, I want to reach out to my counterparts, both at the UG as well as in Edwardsville, and see if we together can maybe see how we as a community, as a county, can maybe put more emphasis to try to get more people educated on vaccinations. And because the worst thing we can do is have the measles really take hold in the county. It really could hurt us pretty badly. So,
Can Chuck say a few things?
you,
He asked if he could come up.
what's that?
Can Chuck come up and say something?
Sure. I would love to give a little bit of my time to Commissioner Stites. Did you want to come up and say something?
Well, so first off, I didn't want this to be about me. I wanted this to run its course and everybody get to vote and have this done. And Doctor, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming out. This is one of the things that I've been working on for about 2 years, right? And Commissioner or City Councilman Kipp, Commissioner, if you'd like to be sometime, talked when we came in about more uses inside this building. You guys have a beautiful facility that we should strive to how we can bring some other services, county services out here that we can utilize them. I would like to think that we will really attack the media blitz on getting this, like Doctor said, that we really want this to be successful. And I think the more that we can all get it out there on our social media, and that we work together with unified government and with you guys, the City of Bonner, Edwardsville, we can let people know so they can utilize this. I think, Councilman Backhand, that it's important, I think the crossing that you talked about That's a good point. We should be looking at that. That could be something that maybe Sci-Fi could come up in our next county budget. Maybe we get Sci-Fi brought back in, that might be something you can utilize. Customer service, right? That's what I was trying to get, right? We've been kind of left out. Western Wyandotte County's kind of been forgotten about a little bit, and I took it to heart 4 years ago when I got elected to try to make sure that we're all inclusive. Wyandotte County does include Bonner Springs and Edwardsville, and I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you for taking the time, even being open to this idea. The tour that was arranged by Amber was great. We enjoyed it. When we talk about the expanded services and what that looks like, I hope that we're hiring local. I hope that we're able to put some more people to work, unified government employees right here from Bonner Springs, Edwardsville, Western Wyandotte County, that can come out here and fill those roles that we need. So anyway, this isn't the end of me. You'll hear a lot more. I've got some more ideas coming. So, but anyway, I just wanted to say thank you, and I thank each and every one of you for what you guys do.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Stites.
Thanks, John.
So if there's anything else anybody wishes to add, I would go ahead and accept a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to adjourn at 8:24 PM.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Blanks, a second by Mr. Shannon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We're adjourned.